Homer actually had a crayon stuck inside his brain. That one crayon is what dragged his IQ from 240 all the way down to 24. When Homer had just turned 6, right in the golden stage of brain development, he became obsessed with testing the limits of the human nasal cavity. When the 16th crayon went up his nose, he suddenly felt the world spin. His nose tingled, and he sneezed out a pile of crayons, but he never realized one had stayed behind in his brain. That's when Lisa finally understood her intelligence didn't come from some mutation. She had inherited Homer's genius genes. Since they'd found the cause, the next step was simply removing the crayon so his smart mind could rise again. The surgery went smoothly, and the new, smarter Homer now had an IQ nearly comparable to yours. The next morning, Homer and Lisa went to the library together. Homer quickly finished several technical books and had sharp, unique insights about everything he read. Lisa was genuinely happy because she finally had someone who could talk poetry with her and discuss philosophy and physics. Homer stopped drinking too. Now he spent his spare time solving Rubik's Cubes. When the neighbor was about to take the kids to church, Homer rushed over to stop him because he had proven through formulas that God doesn't exist. The neighbor thought Homer was joking, but once he looked through the entire calculation, cold sweat poured down his back and he had no choice but to admit Homer was right. All he could do was burn the paper. At the nuclear plant, Homer no longer slacked off. Instead, he drafted a full safety hazard report. He planned to skip the local government and send it straight to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Not long after the letter was mailed, the boss called an emergency meeting, saying they'd received an anonymous complaint requiring the plant to perform a full safety overhaul. The overhaul was impossible, so everyone there was told they could go ahead and lose their jobs. Homer had meant to help everyone, but instead, he caused them all to get fired. Faced with his friends' insults, he buried himself in books, using knowledge to numb the pain. But when he passed Moe's Tavern, he heard people inside shouting for him to be burned alive. When he peeked in, he realized they were his old buddies, and now he had become the target of everyone's anger. That's when he understood that being too smart only pushed people away. He had no choice but to complain to the only person as smart as him, Lisa. But Lisa had long accepted that intelligence and happiness rarely go together. The smarter you are, the lonelier you feel. Homer drove out to clear his head. He passed a movie theater and decided to catch a film. The audience burst out laughing, but Homer couldn't understand a single joke. People called him a freak and knocked him out right there. A mix of emotions flooded him, and he started missing the old, simple version of himself. He went to the research center and asked the scientist to turn him back into the happy idiot he used to be, but the researcher refused to take the risk, so he introduced Homer to an unlicensed doctor. When Homer looked at the business card, he realized it was Moe. Once everything was prepared, Homer handed over the crayon. Moe shoved it back into his nose, and the genius Homer disappeared. Meanwhile, Lisa was at home drawing. She wanted to use a blue crayon to show her love for her brilliant dad, but the blue crayon was missing. A bad feeling crept into her heart. At that moment, Homer crashed through the window. As expected, he had turned back into the carefree fool and had no memory of the smarter version of himself. But that smart Homer had already foreseen this moment. Before the surgery, he had written a letter to his daughter.
Hey, what's this?
I don't know, must be something I wrote before Moe fixed me.
Lisa, I'm taking the coward's way out. But before I do, I just want you to know, being smart made me appreciate how amazing you really are. Oh, Dad.